There we go. The open sign is on as we turn that neon sign here a little bit late. Got some breaking news while we're coming to you a little bit late here, but give you the open sign. We're open. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Steakhouse on a Wednesday. Got a great show for you and a lot of things, a lot of moving parts. So we're a little bit behind. Tim, good to see you as well. Glad you guys are along on a Wednesday. It's our Wednesday show, talking Kansas City T-Bones baseball. My name is Dan Vaughn. I'm glad you're along again. The neon on, and there's Jacob out there as well, working with. Again, we're back and forth. At some point, I'm going to master all this software and be able to fly a 777 and a 787 and an Airbus. I'll be able to do it all, but working that way. But glad you guys are along on a Wednesday. Hope you're doing well wherever you are, and hope you're enjoying our first week of March, which means it's getting closer. March, we're past, well, sort of past the cold months. We're the rainy months, so we're getting that closer to April showers. Brings May flowers, which brings us T-Bones baseball. Glad you're along. Check in. Let me know you're hearing me. Thumbs up. I believe you guys are. Looks like you guys are. So here's what I got for you. I got some breaking news in a moment. I'll talk breaking news so fast that I'm late basically because of that. We're about to really go on, and I got this. I want to throw a little something together for this, and you're going to have to bear with me to kind of get through it. But the T-Bones Steakhouse is open, and we will jump right into that and give you guys the things that are going on in our world of baseball. There's Mom out there as well. Other items. Okay, here, let me get this. What's going to happen here? Okay, breaking news, hot stove update. Joe Cathpietra is going to join me via phone, and we're going to hear his conversation, pretty good one, about what's been going on hot stove wise, where the roster sits, how things are going for him. We'll catch up with Joe. That's the big headliner today. Looking forward to hearing from him. It's good stuff. Already recorded it, so it's a little something different. Yes, it'll be on your screen. You'll see some graphics, but you'll hear Joe here coming up here in just a few minutes. All right, glad you guys are along. Please let people know you're watching this and you're T-Bone faithful. Share it. Let them know, hey, you talk T-Bones right here. We'll take your questions, your comments as always, and I'd love to hear from you guys. A very loaded show. So my rundown sheet now is out the window as we have a few changes, which is good. Always a little bit good. I'm actually adjusting this. I got my lighting. It's a little off there. Yeah, maybe not. We'll see. Okay. Where were we? There we go. There's some thumbs up. Breaking news time. Well, we got the breaking news logo. Let me pull that up for you there. As I scramble, get that. There we go. I need some breaking news music. Da, 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 da. Dun, da, 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 da. Breaking news. Na, 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 na. An old CBS thing. You remember that back in the old days? Breaking news. This coming moments ago from both the desk of Chris Brown and the desk of Joe Cathpietra, and it is good to go. This is good stuff. And we don't talk about this with Joe in a moment, but the breaking news is this, that the T-Bones have added this gentleman right here, Eric Stout, signing with the T-Bones, former Kansas City Royal. Remember last year, Stout began the year with the T-Bones. As a matter of fact, later on when you see Joe's graphics come up, you're going to see that I actually have the Stout signing graphic go by there because we're actually talking about the player signings as well. But good to see you, Tim, out there as well. But big news, an already pretty good pitching staff just got a bit better. And you may have noticed yesterday that TJ House was traded to Sugarland in the Atlantic League, reuniting with him with his short-time teammate Tommy Collier. But you see that, and you need a veteran spot, or you had a veteran spot open up there. Boom. Former big leaguer Eric Stout joining us, and that's good news. Cheryl, good to see you as well. So seeing that, it's funny how these things work. You get these hot stove updates. I'll get a text, and I'll tweet it out to you guys on a Monday, Tuesday, whenever. And it didn't really dawn on me till the next day or so when you see a move like this. You go, okay, I get it now. It's one of those things that happens in our business as we get rolling here in the hot stove. Okay. So that's the first news, first item of the day. That just crossing the wire. That just breaking news. That is the big update right there. That's the big one, okay? So we know that. Stout's there. I'm going to pull the roster up. Give me a moment here. I'm going to pull it up on the screen for me and just kind of talking to Joe, and I'm going to give you him in a moment. But you're looking at Stout, Baker, probably a guy like Frank Duncan, those three, possibly a Jose Mesa Jr., a Bennett Perry's a guy that Joe actually mentions will probably be a chance to be in the rotation as well. Left-hander. You got some depth there. What I love about this, too, and I talked about this a lot in the last couple of years here and there, the T-Bones are getting a lot of new bodies, new blood in our league. There are a lot of players that you see from team to team. They bounce from here to there. They're in Winnipeg here. They're in Gary. They're in St. Paul. And nothing wrong with that. That's great that our league offers that opportunity for players to play. But you're also seeing some new blood, some new players that have not kind of been recycled around the league coming through our organization. That to me is exciting. And you see a name, of course, like Stout, will have a short time here, but you see a name like Bennett, people like that, players like that. That's pretty exciting. And guys like Schlegel as well. You see those guys, and it definitely Jamison McGrain, who I'm going to talk about in a moment as well. He or those guys that would qualify as a new one. Cheryl, good to see you. Kevin as well. This week in the American Association with Kevin and Rob. And I heard from Rob a moment ago. Eager beaver, Rob. I'll get you some guests. I promise I will. Donna, good to see you as well. Hope you guys are doing well. Shows the Steakhouse. We're wide open. It's lunchtime. We're having a little tea here today. But sit back, relax, and continue as we're going to roll right along. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and jump into the Joe stuff right now. And what I'm going to do for you, too, this will also be on our SoundCloud page. I haven't updated it since the fall because we haven't been playing. But I will update and put this interview on SoundCloud for you as well. And but you can also, of course, watch things later. You can hear it. I do apologize. It is audio. It's via phone. And yes, this is a video platform, but I don't like to do this very often. We'll do it this way. Joe will join us next week for a shorter conversation live via video. So we will get more to see his bright, smiling face. But just schedule-wise today, we both had things going on, coming and going, and just worked out. Nate, good to see you as well. So we're going to jump right in, and I'll give you the other updates at the back end. But the breaking news is that Eric Stout is now a T-Bone and back again, and that's good news. So we will talk more about that in the coming days, but that just coming in the last 20 minutes. I mean, literally 12 minutes ago when I got that. So good news there and some more depth in your pitching staff. Okay, early this morning, got a chance to catch up with Joe Caff-Pietra. So this is not live, so you guys know, but I'm going to go ahead and pull this up for you here if I can get to the proper spot here. But Joe and I having a chance to chat about what's gone on so far in the off season. A couple of things what you listen for. I think that what we got to continue to tell ourselves as fans that we remember that there's a culture, a plan in place here. And that culture and plan, I think you're seeing the fruits of that labor now. And we saw it after the first part of 17. We saw it in 18 with the championship, another winning season in 19. That culture, you're seeing the door opening for players who may or may not have been here 5 or 6 years ago, but are here now. And guys who are coming back. You've got guys like Darnell Sweeney and Eric Stout who are back. You got guys like that. I think familiarity, the way you folks treated them as fans, as an organization, how we treated them, all that goes into play. But just the culture of what goes on between the lines, and you're going to see outside the lines too, that culture is going to be phenomenal. So we talked about that last week, but this is more in the between the line stuff. I'm telling you, you're going to see that type of thing, and you're seeing the fruits of that labor. And I think Joe's really good about that. So I'm going to pull that up for you right now, guys. And again, this is Joe from early this morning, and I want you to enjoy, and I'll adjust the volume. Hopefully you guys can hear it. But Joe Caff-Pietra here on the Steakhouse from Philly in early morning conversation.
Well, we are joined here on the Steakhouse via audio on the phone line. Joe Caff-Pietra joining us, the
man with the top step, T-Bone's manager. And Joe, first off, haven't heard from you all season. I know you've been busy. How are you doing?
Everything's going well, Dan. It's been a short off season. It kind of jumped on us. We're looking at March already, so it's kind of crazy getting ready to get started soon.
You're building this thing, and are you ahead of the game? Are you about where you'd like to be? Or are you kind of as far as the overall planning and building of the roster for the season?
Yeah, I don't know ahead of schedule or behind schedule. It kind of takes shape differently, as the years, different years and different circumstances. So, but as of now, the first week of March, we're fairly happy with what we have and what we've accomplished so far.
The roster itself, I guess before I get into the specific players, we talk about on our show, we talk about this, you and I talk about this all the time during the season. You have a special program. It's a different program than some places where the idea is to get these guys a chance to chase their major league dreams. It's oftentimes second, third chance for some guys. You're now here, 17, 18, 19. You're not going to year 4. Do you see a real development of this program for you and how players are receptive to what we're doing in Kansas City, what you are doing as a manager of the ball club?
Yeah, I think we have, set a precedent on, what we're trying to do. Like all the clubs, in the American Association and independent baseball are doing. So I think that the players that come in, they're buying into what our plan is, and it's been working so far.
Yeah, definitely a culture. Some of the things that you taught me in my seat, and I've seen it firsthand watching what culture's done. It's definitely a different culture. Do you is that the first thing you tell a guy? Is it, hey, things are different with what we do, or how? What's the first thing you tell a guy to recruit? Or I say you're not really recruiting, but you're basically recruiting. You're almost like a recruiter as well. What's the first thing you tell a guy? Hey, our culture is different.
Well, a lot of these guys don't know the past culture really, because they're so new to independent baseball. So it's not really anything that's brought up. We just basically try to tell them what we're all about, in today's era. And our first priority is hopefully giving these players opportunities to get a second or third chance, like you mentioned. We do have a winning culture that we've built the last few years. So as they are in-house, the plan is to be successful on the field. So the combination of that is always addressed. And then, the city of Kansas City, how the fans respond to our players and, our front office, how supportive they are with the ball club, our new ownership and things like that. They're all brought up with a package that we feel Kansas City is if not the best, one of the best in independent baseball to venture in if that's where they're heading in their career.
Gotcha. Well, let's look at the roster. Just a couple of names that jump out, at least recently. You've been busy. This is a real. We talk about all the time how this thing is a constant building process that you're doing. I look back last weekend, really last week. We talked a little bit about on last Wednesday's show. Cito Culver, shortstop, first round pick. How the Yankees organization that went to, I believe he was with Baltimore for a short time, but got a first round pick there. This guy's got some skins in the wall, being a first round pick. What can you tell us about Cito Culver?
Well, outstanding defense. Every time I talk about him or bring his name up with players or people in baseball, he's a plus defender. Obviously we all know Sean's not going to be with us. He took a coaching job this year, and he did such a good job for us last year and others when Sean was out, manning that critical shortstop position. And when we had an opportunity to acquire Cito, we felt we really needed a plus defender, and we feel we have it with him.
going down that list and seeing a guy that's back, Roy Morales, who was injured late last year but had an all-star season. Oftentimes teams like to build up the middle, shortstop, center field, a good guy behind the plate. Roy Morales, he's going to be about as good of a catcher you're going to find in the association this year.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Roy did a great job for us last year, and you know, at the end, like you mentioned, you know, he got hurt and couldn't really contribute to our you know, stretch run. But we're happy to have him back in the fold, and we do believe that he's going to be one of the top catchers in our league. Looking
at the outfield, I was mentioning center field. I assume a guy like Rashad Crawford, who is a guy highest level AAA, but it's a lot of time at AA, AAA. That'd be a guy you'd pencil out in the outfield and center field, Crawford?
Yeah, I mean, he has a lot of center field time. So, I mean, obviously we have to see him and see how he fits in with the rest of the players we have in camp at that time. But that's not a bad assumption to think that he, you know, he has that ability. He's a plus defender also, and gives us another switch hitter in the lineup, and a guy that can run and is athletic, versatile, could play other positions too if it's not center field.
Also went out and located Darnell Sweeney after Darnell was signed last year with the Pirates organization, welcoming him back. Good to have him back. Boy, that's a bat that a lot of folks like to have. You can plug him right in the middle of that card and let him go at it.
Yeah, and he's so versatile on the other side also. He plays so many different positions, third, short, second, anywhere in the outfield. Gives us, you know, another switch hitting bat that does fit in the middle of your lineup, and just a good person. He has the whole package. He's as good of a person as he is a player.
How much of him being familiar with you, the T-Bones, the program, winning him coming back, do you think?
Well, I mean, I think it has a lot to do with it. You know, he was treated, you know, right when he was there for a short time. He loved his time in Kansas City. He loved the fans, the front office, you know, so the coaching staff. So it was, you know, a combination of a lot of different things. And when he did not re-sign with Pittsburgh, unfortunately, you know, we constantly stayed in touch. And when it came down to making a decision, he really didn't have he didn't waver about going anywhere else. He wanted to come back.
The voice you're hearing is Joe Calfiek, manager of the Kansas City T-Bones. I'm Dan Vaughn. We're here on the Steakhouse here on Facebook Live and also on SoundCloud as well as we talk T-Bones baseball, Kansas City style, the American Association. And rounding up position player-wise, always good to see Dylan Tice's name. I often say he's a top 5-8 player in the league. He does so many things for you. Good to have him back. Versatile, switch hitter, ultimate team player, and about as good of a kid you're going to find. Dylan Tice, that's good to have him back.
Yeah, there's no doubt. You know, he was one of the first signs when he decided he was going to, you know, play again and things didn't work out with an organization in the off season. He's a special kid. He goes out there. He does the right thing on and off the field. And he's one of those clubhouse guys that, you know, you talk about culture and what we have going on in Kansas City. There are a lot of good people, a lot of people that care about, you know, what we're trying to accomplish. And he's one of those people.
Also bringing back Ramsey Romano, a great story last year, a kid that played that final spring training game. You didn't have a space for Ramsey at the time, but you brought him back 10 days later. He was a nice contributor. Also qualifies as a rookie. You need those rookies, and that'd be one that count on who's versatile as well. Versatile rookie would be huge for this ball club.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of people know Ramsey's story now, and it is. It's one of those situations last year. He was just so determined to play and wanted an opportunity, and I was fortunate enough that we were able to give him that opportunity because he did a great job for us, plugged in so many different spots, came in and did a more than fine job on the mound when we needed that, and with our limited roster, might be called on, to do that at times again. So it's a great story. He's a very good person to have in the program.
Pitching staff-wise, I say this all the time. There's a certain resume, you want to call it, that you go for it, and they all kind of, whether it be young guys, older guys, they all fit a certain role, a certain framework. And you look at the top of that list, used alphabetically, Dylan Baker. He's a guy that I don't think people realize. We get so fired up. Tommy Collier was phenomenal for this ball club last couple of years, but you realize last year Dylan Baker, his numbers and his contribution was right up there with Tommy. A heck of a 1-2 punch. Does he now become your number one?
Well, I mean, last year he finished as our number one. That's for sure. I mean, when we made that run at the end, I mean, he was, if not the best, one of the best pitchers in the league. Every time we gave him the ball, he got us deep in the ball games and competed, and so he's gonna have an opportunity to come in and be the guy, and we're happy to have him back. And again, he fits in nicely for us.
Got LS4 and Jake Cosart, the a young man out of Houston. I believe he's been mostly a reliever. Is that the plan for him as a reliever, a right-hander, 6'2", 175? He's been a back-end guy, but is that the plan for back-end, or is he going to convert to a starter?
No. I mean, his career's been a bullpen guy, and I think we've built it up, at least as of now, and it's still early, but, we have a few starters in-house that we really don't need to stretch anyone into a position that they don't feel comfortable with. He's been very successful in the back-end role. Comes highly recommended. Very good numbers last year in the minor leagues. So he should fit. He should fit in, well, wherever we need him in the bullpen.
What can you tell us about Bennett Perry? He's a lefty. He's out of California. I know bio line-wise, again, fits that veteran type guy. He's not a veteran. He's LS5 at Long Island, AAA in Mexico. You got to have some lefties out there too, but this guy looks like he might be a good find for you too.
Yeah, no, I mean, he pitched very, very well in the Atlantic League last year. One of the top starters there. Was actually in our league in Lincoln. Had a real successful year there, and then signed out of their program, and has, like you mentioned, some Mexico experience. So he's a guy that we're looking at being one of those starters that are going to be, in the top end for us.
As far as other names, of course, Jorge Mesa Jr., you re-signed him over the last couple of days. I believe it was Monday. Jameson McGrain, I believe how you say it, out of Maryland, rookie. Here's a guy, interesting, at least bio-wise. He pitched the Atlantic League, but he's still a rookie. That's huge at a high level, also a rookie. What's the plan for that young man?
Well, I mean, bullpen, he was a closer, 24 saves last year. Again, one of the top arms in the Atlantic League last year out of the bullpen. Still classifies as a rookie for us, which is huge when you have rookies that are able to come in and contribute. And we'll see all these guys when they get in house.
Sure.
And but we are excited about having him, and he put a great year together, and we're hoping he puts another comparable year, and hopefully we could help him fulfill his dream, because these guys want to move on and get back with an organization, and he feels it's a good spot in Kansas City that's able to help him do that.
Final guy I want to ask you about before we kind of close things down here, A.J. Schugel, right-hander, former big leaguer. He hadn't pitched since 18. Is there a story there with him as far as pitching in the States since 18? What's his background as far as obviously big league guy, but is there a story there?
Well, I mean, there's a story with everyone. He got injured. He's fully recovered. He's feeling outstanding. A good friend of mine recommended him the scouting director for the Cincinnati Reds that has interest in him, knows his family, and knows he was a pretty good major league pitcher when he was healthy. So I'm looking forward to seeing him and seeing him healthy, and I think he's going to be able to help us out in a number of different roles possibly.
Joe, good stuff as always. Going to wrap things up here with Joe Capietro. Just a couple of items here in the Steakhouse. What, from your standpoint, what's the biggest challenge in the off season trying to get this roster ready for spring training? What's the real big? Is there a big hurdle for you? Is there a big headache that you've got to go through to really piece this thing together?
Well, I mean, you just talk about the classifications. That's the major thing that you have to kind of concern yourself with. We do have a hard cap also, so you have to keep the classifications and, the salary cap in mind when you constantly move forward. So there are the kind of things that are the hurdles that you have to kind of, maneuver through to, at the end of spring training, your roster is equipped and, able to go out there and be successful.
Final thing, wrapping things up. Things are different. You got new ownership. Have you had a chance to visit with Mark Brandmeier and his bunch, and your initial thoughts on the new situation?
No, I haven't been, out to Kansas City yet. I'm looking forward to getting out there and meeting everyone. Just, talking with new ownership over the phone and getting a good feel for, the plans and the great plans that they have with the stadium and, and the clubhouse. And it seems like it's going to be a different situation there with the new ownership. So we're looking forward to it. We had the 3 years that I had was great. Now we're looking forward to starting with new ownership and moving forward.
Awesome stuff, Joe. Appreciate your time. I know we had to kind of squeeze it in this morning with some other things going on, but I appreciate your time. We'll get you live on the video side down the road. How about that? Keep us updated.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys next week and, answering any questions fans might have. So looking forward to getting on that video side and be able to do what I need to do.
Appreciate you, Joe.
Thank you so much.
That was Joe Capietro a little early this morning, and appreciate his time, and hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a little different. This is a video platform, I know, and I like to try to keep it as much that way as possible, but I thought it was very important, and I know he wanted to be part of the show. We just couldn't work out the schedule, but I know he really wanted to be a part of the show, and now the announcement was made last Tuesday. He wanted, we're kind of going forward now and moving forward toward opening day, and we had a lot to talk about as we've chatted via text and via email. We hadn't really a chance to really break down where the thing stands now and kind of how things are going. So I hope you guys appreciate it. I appreciate you guys with the leeway there, helping me out with that and letting me sort of do things outside the box. He will be with us, though, in the video side down the road, but a little bit of a taste of what you might hear on the radio, a longer extended radio interview, but we will have this on SoundCloud for you as well. A couple of things, and of course, questions and comments on that, and that's one thing Joe did tell me. He really was hoping to be live because he wanted to be able to answer any questions you guys have. So if you guys do have questions or comments, please feel free to fire those off about this show and about the T-Bones. A couple things I thought were interesting. There's a story for everyone, and I think that is kind of maybe the better thing than saying, I always say, chase your major league dreams. That's kind of what I keep saying, that these guys are trying to chase those major league dreams again. Well, each one has a story why they're trying to do that. There's something there. I remember going through Ramsey Romano's bio. I kind of went through and dug up some more information for Ramsey for this year's media guide and program, and it dawned on me that there was a story that maybe I'd left out. Some of the things that I'd talked about the football angle a bit. This is the example. I talked about the football angle, but he was one heck of a pretty valuable athlete, dual sport guy, and maybe some of that story we didn't talk about was being tugged between two sports. We never really talked to Ramsey about that, but there was more of a story there. Looking at Cito Culver, for example, the first round pick for the Yankees a few years ago. Young man came out of high school, a lot of pressure, and he was given that whole next Derek Jeter title. I mean, he's the guy that if you look at old Yankees blogs from 2010 and onward, he was the guy. He was the guy they were counting on to be the next Derek Jeter. Who can be the next Derek Jeter? That's a lot of pressure to put on a young man, especially coming out of high school in upstate New York, who's probably idolized Derek Jeter as a young man growing up. And suddenly the Yankee press and media are like, this is the next Derek Jeter. So every player has a story. And Joe is right on about that. I thought that was one really, because I was talking about the story with Bennett, the lefty that had missed a year. Bennett. It was Schlegel that missed a year. And it was an injury situation, which, as I presume, but he's right. Every player has a story as they try to chase those major league dreams. Lou, good to see you, mate. Hope you're doing well. Kenny, absolutely love the straight shooter. Yeah, he is straight shooter. So refreshing, a true throwback. He is. He doesn't give me a lot of coach speak. It's all pretty front and center. His program, his culture, I call it, which I'm a big believer in. I know Kenny covers high school sports in the Metroplex, does a great job of it. Kenny knows about culture. He understands and he sees winning cultures, what winning coaches do. So he gets it. You can tell, but just by hearing Joe and talking to him on a daily basis like I do, this is not a guy giving me coach speak. Maybe some generic sound bites thrown in there. We all do those. I mean, I do them when I get interviewed, but this is a genuine guy that has a program in place. And that, take that one step further, certain words come out to me in that conversation, his connections and looking at guys, knowing guys' families, that he's not just finding out, well, this guy's a good ball player, but his source telling him this kid's a good kid, from a good family, good background, is a good citizen. Those are things that matter, and those are things in our world in the long run that matter most. And I think that's really cool to see that. Couple of items too. Classifications are going to be huge. That's why going forward, one of the first things I've got the habit of looking at now is that classification. We talk about it a lot in the broadcast from the season. Those rookies that contribute, not just a guy on the roster, not a rookie that just sits there in the bullpen and doesn't ever pitch for you, not a rookie that never plays, but a rookie that contributes and plays. And he's talked about Ramsey Romano in that vein, a guy that can play multiple positions, contribute different ways as a rookie, because the rosters are restricted. And we'll go over that a little bit more as we go down toward the opening day. We always have a little show right before spring training, or usually during spring training, where I go over the roster classifications for you, what the rules are. And there's a hard cap. There's no, you want to, the cap's $10, let's say, and it's not $10.25. It's not $13. It's $10, right? That's what it is. So those all came out, and I just love hearing Joe, the excitement in his voice, and and it's like I mentioned this to you guys before in the offseason, and this was going on when the sale was going on with the ball club. I'll pull the curtain back. When the sale was going on last season, and negotiations were going on, I mentioned several times, you're not buying the jalopy on the back of the lot that's missing tires and seats and the engine's shot, and you're buying something that's got some really good pieces to it. And we're seeing what Mark Brandmeier and company are going to do. As you saw that last Tuesday in the press conference, that's going to be phenomenal. That culture is going to be great, as I mentioned earlier, and that culture between the lines. And I know that Mark feels this way, and I know what Chris Brown does, everybody does. But your on-field thing, you've got to feel just ecstatic. I mean, you're walking in and buying a culture on the field that is a machine, and it's done the right way. And I think that's really cool to see. And I think that's one reason I think last offseason I told you guys as fans to relax, step off the ledge. Things are going to be okay. Uncle Dan was right? Okay, so great stuff from Joe there. Questions, comments on that? I'm going to jump the rest of the news of the week for the T-Bones anyway. We're going a little long here, so I'm not going to get a chance to go through the association as much. I'll do that a little bit more in the coming days or coming shows. But let's play catch up a little bit. You may have seen this on Monday. You remember there was a July 30th move or 29th move, I believe it was last year, that came and went. And Luke, I see there knows all about this move. There was a young man from Arkansas, Jordan George, who played one ball game for the T-Bones, went 2 for 5, played third base, and he is returning. Hot stove update right there. He's the most recent signee. Along with Jamison McGrain, which I'll get to him in just a moment. But good to see that Jordan George played third, had the 2 base hits, again went 2 for 5, and then was signed by the contract was purchased by the Royals, went to AA Northwest Arkansas, finished the season there. He is back for a full season. Former Arkansas State player there in Jonesboro, Arkansas, and had a phenomenal career, maybe their best to date, all-time player at their university, young man who's from Blytheville, Arkansas, and he will bring that natural talent from the natural state to KCK. But having Jordan George back, again, played the one ball game, but he was there for what? We had a bio and a roster move, and boom, he was gone. And but he is back in the fold. So Jordan George. Now I don't have any graphic wise on Jamison McGrain, McGrane, young man who's out of Framingham, Mass, went to Limestone College in Gaffney, South Carolina. Number wise, here's a guy that just finished his bio, but spent time with the Marlins organization, 18 season, a little time, a short 8-game stay in the Mexican Winter League this last year. Pitched in 8 ball games, 6 1/3 in relief down there, which is, as far as Winter Leagues go, we've talked about this a bit before, but as far as Winter League pecking order goes, Dominican, Puerto Rico, Mexico, Venezuela, all very good leagues. They're all playing the Caribbean World Series, which ended a couple weeks ago, but he got a chance to play down there for a short time. And I thought was interesting, too, another guy, this is 2 names that we've seen who classified as a rookie, but played at York in the Atlantic League. Of course, the Atlantic League, basically comparable to our league. It's the 2 top-notch levels of independent baseball. I was 4-2, a 1.33 in 61 innings last year, 24 saves for that York Revolution Ball Club. So young man who will come in and definitely add some depth in the bullpen. I mean, this is a guy that you've got some bullpen. I'm going to have to adjust this just a tad from the interview. There we go. Lights are a little bit of a glare there. But 24 saves. You suddenly got a little back-end bullpen help as far as just looking at things on paper. Joey had mentioned that to us. Talked about McGrain, and then also talking a bit about AJ Schugel as well. Just other possibilities. There's moving parts here, and you never know of that roster who's going to be coming and going. There's constantly being moves made. I mean, I interviewed Joe this morning at 10 a.m. Central Time, and boom, by noon, we've got to move. So that's kind of the way things work. But as far as getting you caught up from last week, again, the T-Bones signed Culver last week, right before we went on the air, the young first-round pick for the Yankees organization, and just ran out of time there. A lot of pressure, but he's going to be interesting to see that young man. He played in Sussex County last year in the Can-Am, and should be and also Rockland as well. I like what you're going to see there, doing more research on him. And again, I came away just reading some of the things that were said about him, some of the talk about him. A lot of pressure on that young man, but looking forward to seeing him. Cito Culver probably going to hold on that shortstop spot for the T-Bones. And then I mentioned Jamison McGrane and Jordan George. George can also DH, gives you some versatility there too. And then TJ House was traded yesterday, and that opens up the move for the return of Eric Stout. So Eric Stout is back. That's the breaking news of today. And then you've got your trade of TJ House, the signing of George, and also McCrane coming for Kansas City. So all that is your hot stove update right there. Got you covered, got you going. I got a chance for any questions, comments before we get this thing rolled out here. I got a couple more things to go through that are more just items for you guys, and a couple of things there. By the way, first off, follow me on Twitter. There you go. You would know a lot of these little news items by following me on to the old Twitter. So glad to have you guys at Dan Vaughn Jr. Also, please follow the T-Bones Twitter account as well. But again, questions, comments for you guys. And I got two items. First off, it's been a busy couple of days in the tryout reporting department. There are going to be two tryouts, one in the American Association. And I'm going to give you more of a graphic on that in a moment. This is kind of cool. It's a league-wide tryout coming up, and it's going to be on April 15th and 16th, Air Hog Stadium in Grand Prairie, Texas. There'll be a representative from every team in the association will be there. Now, in years past, you've had a few of these tryouts where 3 or 4 teams, for example, there was one in Tennessee a couple of years ago with a couple of teams from the Frontier, Gary, Grand Prairie were there from our league. This is a league-wide deal. This is going to be a representative from every team will be there to the tryout camp on the 15th and 16th there at Air Hog Stadium in Grand Prairie. If you're a Nova player or if you're more interested in more information, the American Association website, the place to go. There's a link on there that also has the link to the sign-up page and all the details there. The tryout camp coming up on the 15th and 16th. I may slide over there and see the boys and get invited out, man, do that. So that's tryout camp number 1. Tryout camp number 2, coming to you from the ballpark. It'll be coming up as well. This announced over the last couple of days. It'll be the May 6th, which is usually, it doesn't really kick off spring training, but it really starts it. You know the season's here when that camp happens, because usually it's the day before or 2 days before the players take the field for their first workout. And that'll be, I believe, I think that's what is the day of the week is that? I didn't look that up. I didn't even look that up. But I can look that up real quick for you guys and tell you that is going to be, that is a Wednesday, May 6th. And I believe the team workouts start on Friday the 8th. I think that's correct. But there is T-Bones tryout. More details there. Register at tbonesbaseball.com. Morgan did a great job of tweaking that website, and there's a link on there, all the details. But 9 a.m. registration usually starts about 10. Of course, you want to come dressed in your baseball gear, bring your own catching equipment if you're a catcher. But if you know someone that wants to try out with the T-Bones or you think you can do it, heck, pack up the bag and come on and try out and join us and come and see us. We'd love to have you out. But again, those details are at tbonesbaseball.com. So 2 tryouts again, the association tryout and the Kansas City T-Bones tryout there at the ballpark. So got you covered there here on the Steakhouse. Getting close to closing time. Been a long show, but also kind of blew by because I spent 20 minutes kicking back, listening to Joe, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. Last call, questions, comments, anything you guys want to talk about with the T-Bones. Again, we will. I didn't get a chance to really break down the association this week. I do encourage you. I saw Kevin on there a few minutes ago, but listen to This Week in the Association with Kevin Luco and Rob Paneer. Those are 2 guys that will get you caught up on the league-wide news. We'll kind of keep you up as well. Going forward, we will start getting some guys in from the association. We're going to have guests from all of the teams if we can squeeze them all in, hopefully. Also, we'll be talking tickets next week, I do believe. Probably doing groups and talking some group tickets, also talking some season tickets. And I believe Joe will join us again, and Morgan will probably stop by. It'll be a jam-packed show. I know Morgan, we may have to move some folks around because we got so many guests now. The Steakhouse is getting popular, everybody. Everyone's been the Steakhouse. Why not, right? It's the show of shows, right? It's amateur hour at the Apollo, we like to call it. Appreciate it, and Morgan, appreciate it. And by the way, Morgan, what for her too, I want her to give us a little more of a preview of things to come. And also, she sent me some really good information, and we're going to run out of time today, but we're going to get to it in her segment next week as far as she sent me some new artist or the artist renditions. What am I saying? Take two, Vaughn. The artist renderings. Is that how you say it? Right? Renderings. That's the word for it. Renderings. And all the details that you saw those. We previewed those to you last week. But the details of the various possible ballpark additions that'll be coming up in the next couple of years. As everybody's definitely going to be seeing a lot of improvements there at the ballpark. It's exciting times. Yeah, everybody's in line to eat the steak. Everybody wants a little bit of time here in the Steakhouse. And looking forward to having everybody on the Steakhouse as well. Don't forget tickets information as well. It's on the website, but quickly, this is something we've talked about just about every week as well. 2020 season tickets. That Founders Club's going to be nice. I did show you a photo of that last week. There'll be more details on that club coming as well. I've got the photos, and Morgan's got a good breakdown of all that, and we'll have her on. And we'll also probably hear from, Casey and Nick both from the ticket department. Will be able to fill us in on all that. So, but again, tickets at 913-328-5618. Also on the website, tbonesbaseball.com. Last call. Get those orders in now. I want to get you any comments or questions. I'm glad you guys were joining us today. Just a solid show. Oh, by the way, Jonathan Fink, I saw your link there to your book. And if you know me and you've heard kind of how I do things, I do oftentimes I will mention things about the baseball gods lowercase, because I'm not always sure that the big man upstairs uppercase is concerned about the game on the field lowercase. So I oftentimes joke baseball gods lowercase, but saw your link to your book there, and we'll check it out, Jonathan. So thank you for that. Let's see, everybody else. Anthony, everybody, a lot of you folks have already lost the screen there. I had to refresh, but I'm glad you guys joined us. Mike, Kenny, Nate, everybody out there. You folks watching this on replay, glad you are. If you want to hear that Joe Capietro interview without the echo, go to SoundCloud. I'll have it up here momentarily, just a few minutes. Put that baby up there for you so you guys can do that. Kevin, good to see you, mate. We're working on some things to get you guys some guests on your show as well. So looking forward to that. But all right, guys, last call. Again, next week's show. You were cranking out your show while you're doing got it. Well, you missed. You can watch it on replay. Some things to look forward to too, as those shows coming up. We're gonna do a couple things just to give you guys some ideas of what's going to happen from this seat. You're going to be able to watch this on Periscope, which is Twitter. That's something that's coming. I'm going to be doing that in short time. We'll be also having more guests on these shows. Also during the season, having more guests on the show during the season and during the Cup of Sizzle show we do during the daytime. So we'll have more of that going as well. And we're going to have a Morgan segment. Actually, Morgan and I are working on somebody is. I say me. It's not really me. It's more her working on some graphics for her and some theme music for Morgan when she comes on. So we got all that working and other things, items here and there, and a lot of fun content coming right here on social media, right here on Facebook Live, things like the Steakhouse and more. There's even been some talk about some fun stuff in the booth this summer that we have not had in the past. So a couple of ideas of kicking around, and we'll see if those will transpire. Okay, one more shot at the logo. Glad you guys joined me here on the Steakhouse on your Wednesday. And, it's always having these shows in because it means it's 7 more days. We'll get together again next week. Again, follow us on Twitter. I'll have those updates for you as those player moves come. Thank you very much, Kenny. I appreciate you too, brother. Kenny and I go way back, and just couldn't be more fond of a person than him. He's a phenomenal guy and he knows his stuff. Believe me, he knows his stuff. Everybody else, thank you guys for joining us. And I got it. I got it, Kevin. I see you had to do a little. That happened to me today. Originally, we were going to do some ticket talk too. I already had Joe lined up, but we had to change on the fly this morning. Just pulled the curtain back. Joe just said, "Hey, he had some schedule issues. We do as well. We've been playing. I don't know if you guys know this, but my daughter Caroline was in Rome up until a few hours ago, and she's been her spring semester studying abroad has been cut short, and they're all coming home, all 100 students, and we've been on the on phones and on pins and needles and all that, and late night phone calls with what's going on over there, and thoughts and prayers worldwide to that whole thing, and so it's been a bit of a lot of schedule of moving pieces as well. So we do that. We got to produce on the fly sometimes and move things around. So I threw a slideshow together and hope it worked out for you. But I understand exactly how it works, Kevin. But great stuff from Kevin and company there this week in the association. Well, time to put that close sign up and tell you that we have closed the Steakhouse for another week. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a part of the T-Bones family. I say it all the time, and the best fans, it's you guys. And there's no doubt in my mind, you guys are the best, committed, and we love you, and we appreciate your support of T-Bones Baseball. So with that, there we go. Well, we put the red sign up, and that means we're closed for the week, and we will see you guys again next week on the Steakhouse. Have a great week, everybody.